I think it's important for people too to understand you can have an opinion and someone else can have an opinion and it's okay. And just leave it there. We don't need to fight about it. Oh, right. It's so where did we lose that? It's frustrating. I feel like every single day I have to watch what I say. Like I'll say something. I'll be like, oh, I need to like suck that back in because, people just get so, everyone just gets so offended by everything. And I don't understand it.
I know.
And, I think people, and obviously too, I think people step way past their boundary. Like some things that people are saying or doing are way out of line and shouldn't be happening. But it's okay if somebody wants to eat that way or somebody wants to try herbs. Like again, I dealt with it with my family. Like, why would you do that? Well, why would you do this? And it makes no sense that you would. I had trouble with my son whenever he was first born, and everyone was like, oh, he has Asperger's, he has ADHD, he has this. And I found out he had an allergy to something. So I switched it up because I was like, no, I followed my mom gut instead of listening to a doctor that was like, and luckily I shouldn't say that. I have a very good doctor that was totally behind me. She's like, he's a boy and he's active and I'm not necessarily wanting to put him on a medication, but you do need to find the root of this because it's going to affect development later, like educational wise. He was allergic to dairy. That's what it was. He was allergic to dairy. That's another big thing. So we got him switched up. He still to this day doesn't drink. My kids don't drink milk.
Right.
And yes, you can still get calcium even if you don't drink milk. That's a huge myth.
Do you guys do almond milk?
Yeah, we do almond, cashew. Yep. And it's,
yeah, I've done almond milk for 3-4. Like I was drinking whole milk daily.
Yeah.
Oh, it was not good.
Yeah. Well, and it's like funny because like some people don't realize like, why does my stomach always hurt when I drink a glass of milk? Or
I'm just like again, I'd like my stomach be bloated.
Yes.
Like, oh man, I was drinking just way too much whole milk and then switched to almond and like that just went away.
Yeah.
Pretty well.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing what can happen. So yeah, it's things like that. And I am a firm believer the red dye 40 is not good for you. That's like another thing. I mean, there's so many things that you could be taking out of your kids' diets, but I've also met a lot of parents that were like, well, my kid likes chicken nuggets and french fries, so I'm not changing that. Well, they won't eat. I was like, trust me, if your kid's hungry, they'll eat. I'm a very tough, like they will eat if they want to eat. So, yeah, but I've had parents that won't do it. So you have to live with the chaos, I guess.
Yeah. And then, but I mean, especially like for little kids who, like chemicals in food are processing like crazy and their brains are just so like when they're exposed to it, it seems like it's amplified like crazy. And so when at a young age so like parents will feed their kids what they want to feed them. They are their kids. I can't tell a parent how to parent, but I've seen numerous times, you have as well, it seems like kids that grow up with certain diets, there's so many health issues at a young age or behavioral issues. And not at all that diet is always linked to behavior. Sure. But it certainly can be.
Oh my gosh, yes. I actually have a crazy story about, I was interning with a naturopath here in Butler, and she was awesome. Like she let me just jump right in. It was great. But whenever we had two mothers come in and their children, one was a female, one was a male child, but they both literally similar diets, similar family situation. Doctors thought possible spectrum issues. What was the other thing? Oh, hyperactive activity, like hyperactive disorders. So they had like all these things, and it was like, if we can't get this under control, they're going to put my kid on a pill. So, there's pretty much a couple things that you do whenever this happens, or if you're experiencing this, like you want to detox your child. And again, that's not like giving them a formula or a certain shakes or anything like that. It's literally easy as like, don't give your kids soda. Don't give them, iced tea, even like any of those things. So it's water, and then you cut out meat and fruit for at least 2 weeks. Start there, and then you can slowly start cutting out like sugars, dairy, grain. Like they'll eat nothing but vegetables and meat. If you're a meat eater, I know some people don't do that. That's fine. So one mom was like, absolutely not. Like, that's not happening. I'm not cutting out these things. Like, basically there's a list.
Yeah.
And the other mom was like, I'm willing to try. And like, we told her, like, we're just telling you the first 2 weeks are going to be hell. And it's going to be behavioral issues. She probably won't eat because she doesn't want to eat cucumbers when she was eating fruit snacks all the time. So 2 weeks, it was like, I shouldn't say 2 weeks. It's probably like 4 months after the diet started. The one mom ended up medicating, and the other mom, her daughter was fine.
Oh my goodness.
Her daughter was still on spectrum, but it was so controllable. It wasn't a big deal, but like she couldn't believe it. And that started her siblings started eating like that. The parents started eating that way. And I think what the issue was with the other parent was like, they didn't want to change how they live for their child, which I don't understand. That's like a really hard thing as a mom. I'm like, oh, like, don't get me wrong. Every mom that hides a box of chocolate chip cookies, I got you. Like, I get it. But like, to not.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, because it just causes chaos in your home.
Right. That's right.
We lived that. Like, we did that for a while with our son. Like, I couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And I'm not a big, like, you know, I was a nursing mom. I watched what I ate, but I was drinking milk or yogurt. And I didn't realize that's what it was. And as soon as we found that out, lowered his, like, he was very sensitive to things, figured it out, and it was done. So, and he's great.
Right.
We love our little Lex. So, but yeah, it's just, if you can figure out or pinpoint it, and it's cutting those things out, figuring it out, and then maybe supplementing. Like, my kids take herbs. Like, my kids have done herbal supplements since they were little. They drink tea. So they have a little bit of a disadvantage with their mom being an herbalist. So I'll be like, take this. So,
but hey, program them now. Like, boom, they'll be in.
For sure.
I worked at a nonprofit in DC. This is probably when I was like 21. I lived in DC for a year.
Oh, okay.
Worked at a place called Jill's House, and it was like an overnight respite for families that had kids with special needs.
Awesome. Okay.
So, you know, kids on the spectrum from like barely being able to tell to being nonverbal.
Sure.
All types of special needs. We would have to write down like their diet, what they drank, what they were overnight, you know, what activities that they did. For there were kids that, you know, we would also hear what they ate that day, right? So that we could, hey, if something's going on, okay, well, let's see what they ate when they were at home. There were so many kids that had autism, the ones that were eating bread and that didn't really have, like, their parents just weren't concerned with the diet. How about that?
Yeah.
Like they were just kind of like, we're just trying to get through the meal. And obviously, you know, we understand, like, it can certainly be difficult. The kids that were eating like a lot of processed breads specifically were, I mean, so again, it was very difficult to calm them down, get them, you know, transition them from activity to activity, whatever that might be. There were so many families that, like, we kind of the RNs that were at this respite would talk to them about, hey, listen, like, let's talk diet here. Like, let's try to start to eliminate breads. Same thing to what you were saying.
Right.
Like, they started to eliminate certain things. It was like it was a different child. Like, we would see them 2 months later, and it would be like, are they on meds? The parents would be like, we stopped giving them bread. And we'd be like, what?
Good job, Mom and Dad. That's awesome. Yeah, it's
amazing.
It's hard sometimes because bread is like, I love bread.
Sure.
But, I mean, bread is, you know, it's part of the American diet.
There's no doubt.
Love bread. So when people like find out they might have a gluten intolerance, that's a big deal for a lot of people. Even dairy, because people like cheese. And
That's right.
I understand, but it's, you know, is it worth? I mean, there'll be times where like I will like fall up. I'll notice like, oh my gosh, I've been eating how I shouldn't be, and I will feel it. I'll just start feeling disgusting, and I kind of try to remind myself, you eat to live, not live to eat.
Amen, sister.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard. I mean, and it's hard because I was lucky. My mom was very, like, we didn't really drink soda growing up. And
same.
You know, my mom always had a tray of, like, if we were hungry, there's veggies in the fridge, but they're already cut up, ready to go, or fruit or something. And I would do that with my kids. And I get made fun of. People were like, your kids actually eat that? I'm like, yeah, my kids love carrots, and my kids love cucumbers and peppers
awesome.
and all that stuff. So people kind of think it's weird, because my kids will eat it. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you give them a cookie, they'll eat it too.
Sure. But like, how crazy is it that that eating like natural, pure foods is the unique in this scenario? Like, how did that become weird?
That's what. Trust me, people think I do a lot of weird things. And like, I gave my son, a lot of people thought this was weird. I made my son's formula because I was terrified to give him like formula.
Sure.
And there's nothing against anyone that does that. Like I get, maybe not everyone has, like, I had weird resources. So I know it wasn't a thing. So I actually made a goat's milk formula for my son, and goat's milk is like the closest thing to breast milk.
Right.
So when I was doing that, my entire family was like, you are insane. I can't believe you're doing this. And I mean, that's when we started seeing the changes when I took out like cow milk versus the goat milk.
Right.
And I mean, there's nutritional yeast in it, and there's natural maple syrup, which has amazing vitamins and minerals in it. You wouldn't know. Everyone knows like Aunt Jemima, so it's hard for them to switch that taste.
Sure.
My kids have never had Aunt Jemima syrup. Like
really?
They eat, no. Oh my gosh,
wow.
no. They only eat real maple syrup. That's like a thing. That's like a weird thing that I do. People are like, this is disgusting.
Sure.
It's real. That's what it's supposed to taste like. It's out of the tree. So that was a weird thing. But we had a family member just recently, their son had a ton of health issues. We literally allergic to everything. And she called me and she's like, okay, 1, I'm sorry that I made fun of you about the goat milk formula. 2, can I please have the recipe?
Yeah, right.
And I was like, yes, like that's right. What, like, I'm not taken offense very easily, I guess. Like, you make fun of me, whatever. It's what works for me and my kids. And I get sometimes too, like that's a lot. I hear that a lot when my kid eats chicken nuggets and French fries, and that's what works for us. Right. And I was like, that's okay. But like, I can't give you anything. I can't help you if you're not willing to change that one little thing. So that's a little bit of a barrier, but I always try to handle it with love and
sure.
Like I get it. Being a parent is so hard. It's hard.
Sure.
Especially as they get older, it gets hard, and I get it. You just want to be like, sometimes like, okay, please just stop.
Right.
You gotta, it does change if you are willing to take that little bit of a risk.
That's right.
So yeah.
I'll tell you what, my sister would have been probably 8. I didn't eat fast food until I was 5. Was the first time I ever experienced fast food.
That's amazing.
So my family, number one, we like, being in an Italian family, we cooked food. Sure. We just didn't go out, right? And I mean, so at the time, we probably couldn't even afford it. Like fast food, it was like, why would we spend $1 for, like $1 per item? We have leftovers from whatever, So, I remember my mom used to say, you had the shiniest hair when you were younger, and like you just like your teeth were so white, like, and she was like, it's because you didn't eat fast food, Evan. And like growing up, I was like, what do you mean, Mom? Now looking back, I'm like, yeah, I was so much healthier when I just was using fast food. I'm trying, like, it's tough. Like it's certainly tough,
right?
But being willing to put in the effort is so darn worth it.
I think that's something, if someone could figure out a way to make healthier fast food options. Like I'm not saying like go on McDonald's or Wendy's and there's a salad. Like there needs to be someone that steps up to the plate and like, I'm going to make an all organic menu, or a menu of maybe a vegan restaurant or something where people can drive through. Cause we're in that state. Like everyone's running around craziness, and I get that too. Our lives are insane. And sometimes, it's really easy on your way home to go through the drive-through. Like, again, I am not trashing anyone for any of that stuff.
Sure.
I do it. Like, I get it. But it's just not how we live every day. Because I do know people that do that every single day. And it's like, oh, how do you feel? Like, I just don't feel good when I eat like that.